All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, my guest is with me right now. He's Nwabu Legborsi Nuka. He is the Executive Director of Nigeria Private Sector Alliance. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start with what's happening in Ghana, because I did say we're looking at, some countries in Africa. Let's take a look at Ghana. Talk to me. I know you're a member of the Nigerian Traders Association, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I was the head of legal and policy
of the association.
Of the association.
Yes. Talk to me about what's really happening right now in Ghana. For me, is one too many, because for years now it's been on. Over the years, I've also taken a look at what's happening. Like I said during my intro, there was a time that it was said in Ghana that as a foreigner, that you have to drop about $300,000 before you can trade. That's, that topsy-turvy kind of movement between Ghanaians and Nigeria. Give me an update right now of what you think is happening.
Yeah, thank you. Really, like you rightly said, Ghana has a law, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act 2013, or what they call the Act 865. Now, that law gives a background, or gives a legal framework for people who are non-Ghanaians who want to trade in Ghana or who want to invest in Ghana. And like you rightly said, then it was 300, but at the moment it's about $1 million US if you have to do business in Ghana. But very quickly, there is a little contradiction because petty trading is different from foreign investment. And with due respect to the Ghanaian drafters who drafted that law, even in their definition of what they mean by enterprise, they are referring to industry. They're referring to big projects and not this retail trading, which is what they are targeting right now. And so there seems to be a conflict in that drafting. But Section 23 defines who a foreigner is. Then 27 now gives a background of the types of trade that non-Ghanaians should not engage in. Issues of selling of sachet water, owning a barbing salon, selling in open market, those basic stuff. I mean, that's what the law dealt with. But they have extended the application of that law to cover so many things, like what you saw on the clips about spare part dealers and other traders. So that law also prohibits non-Ghanaian from driving taxi in the city, except you own a fleet of taxi that is beyond 25 cars.
And you employ Ghanaians. And
they employ Ghanaians. Or you marry Ghanaians. You have a waiver if you are married to the Ghanaian lady or a Ghanaian man. So there will be a waiver in that context. Maybe for about a period of 5 years you have been married. So maybe you transmit into a citizen of Ghana, so to say. I don't know how they intended that. So that has been there. And then, like you rightly said, we've also, when I was in Nantes, we did a protest last year, if you can recall. Yeah. I was also in the studio here, to ECOWAS, and there was a response from the president. President to president, they spoke in New York, and then there was a respite. And then eventually, as at that time, about 400 shops were shut down. And then we made the advocacy to the Ghana embassy here, made advocacy to the Ghana embassy, Nigerian embassy in Ghana, and then those shops were opened. But currently, like you said, like you showed the video, the spare part dealers, which is a sub-unit or a unit of the GUTAC, that's the Ghana Union of Traders, have come up now. Not the major umbrella body now, but a subset of the bigger organization. They're carrying out these activities right now. What that speaks to us is that there seems to be no control over, Ghana has no control over their citizens, so to say. That's the impression we have, because government is telling you a different thing and citizens are doing a different thing, particularly in the Kumasi axis. As we speak, there are nocturnal police raids against Nigerians that goes on in Kumasi, in the Ashanti region of Ghana. So these things are there all the time. Like you said, the more you try to solve it, the more it takes a different dimension. And then the question, maybe the government will need to deal with that, is what actually is at stake between Nigerians and Ghanaians.
Okay, let me just halt you because I've listened to you. You know, the Ghanaians, they have a law, isn't it?
Yes.
And they also put a law concerning retail trading, which you've said, that's petty trading, retail trading, that foreigners are not supposed to be involved in that.
Yes.
Don't you think, let me take off my Nigerian hat for a while, don't you think that even as the law is, that Nigerians should obey that law? Because the country sets law the way it wants its country to be. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
2 days ago, I saw what we just saw right now on television, you know, the Ghanaians raiding the Nigerian shops over there in Swami magazine. That's, I think, in Kumasi axis of Ghana. As a Nigerian, I was not happy with what's happening because you're saying, oh, okay, our brothers and sisters that are over there are being denied of their livelihoods, you know, goods destroyed and all of that. But with the law that Ghana has put down, what do you think that Nigerians can do when there's a law? Because even while I was listening to the Ghanaians 2 days ago, they were saying there's a law. Why can't Nigerians obey the law?
Yeah, I think we need to get it right in that context. There is a law, no doubt. But when you have a domestic law, so to say, and then you subscribe to a regional law or a continental law or an international law,
of ECOWAS
which is under the ECOWAS umbrella. So that law will be subsumed under the regional law, as it were. In this context now, under the ECOWAS legal regime, everybody within ECOWAS is a citizen. We can do businesses, we can travel together. I think the passport you have is not a Nigerian passport. It's an ECOWAS passport. The one I have is an ECOWAS passport. So we are all citizens of the same community. And so that guarantees or that gives...
But when you come into the country, you're supposed to be there for a while, isn't it? If you want to like stay in the country and do business, are you not supposed...
Yes. Or 90 days, right?
Yes. Are you not supposed to regularize yourself?
Yeah, and I don't think the position of Ghanaian or the Ghana government is that the people they are harassing are not registered businesses. I can put it clear on good authority that all the Nigerian business people or the traders in Ghana have registered their businesses. In that law, there is a caveat. I mean, it's not, like you mentioned, you must have a percentage of capital for you to access or to do that business. The question now is that the people that they are harassing, is it on the ground that they don't meet up the investment threshold or just because they are Nigerians? That's what we need to ask ourselves. Nobody's disputing that they don't have a law. They have a law. But the question again is that the people you are harassing, the people you are destroying their goods and property, are they not registered businesses?
And are they not
legal, operating within
the legal
limit of the Ghana legal system? That we need to answer. We have done all this advocacy to that extent. If there are gaps, which I think we also need to point out, if there are gaps in terms of criminal elements, like Dabiri said, you don't give everybody the name or the brand that they are criminals. We agree that there are bad people. We also have in Nigeria Ghanaian criminals. We have thieves in Nigeria that are Ghanaian, if you've been following trend as well, in Lagos and some other places. So we are not saying that everybody is good or everybody is bad, but they need to distinguish between the legitimate Nigerians that are doing. What else would a Nigerian go to Ghana or any other country to do if it's not for business? Would it be because they want to go and sleep in Ghana? So if you say they should not do business in Ghana, then what do you want them to do?
Now, you know, this is just a very dicey situation. Dicey in the sense that it's been on for years.
Yes.
You know, like I said earlier, I keenly watched the Ghanaian TV station two days ago. And one of the guests, who happens to be a colonel in Ghana, did allude to, he said that most of the crimes in Ghana, after an investigation, they find out that Nigerians are behind it. Okay. But that does not mean that all Nigerians are criminals. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I agree.
So how do you think that this tussle between Ghana and Nigeria would be sorted out? Because even they had to put Abikedabiri Erewa on Skype on the TV station. In fact, it was an attack on her. For those that perhaps saw the interview on the Ghanaian TV station 2 days ago. How do you think this will be addressed?
I think it's just a matter of calling a dog a bad name. Okay? If you recall, this thing happened in 2012. It happened in 2013 or 2014. It happened last year again. Were they doing that because Nigerians were criminals? They're only looking for another excuse to give. When do Nigerians become criminals in Ghana to the point now that you don't deal with the person that is a criminal? You transfer that aggression to the person who is legitimately doing his or her business in a shop in the market. How do that connect? How do that? If somebody is a kidnapper in Ghana or is a criminal in Ghana and it is clear that he's a Nigerian, the same law you are using to apply on businesses, then you use your criminal law in Ghana to deal with the person. We have Nigerians who are in their thousands in Ghana prisons or in Ghana's police cells. If they are criminals, you arrest them and then let the law take its course. But not to now say that because a Nigerian is a criminal, you transfer it to the man or woman that is in his shop doing his legitimate business. There's a disconnect there, to my mind. Okay? So we have this thing happening over and over. Maybe we need to get a common ground to understand what exactly is in the mind of Ghanaians.
And I'm wondering why a common ground has not been reached for over how many years now? Either 8, 7
Yeah,
years.
I think the reason is that with due respect to our own system here, our government don't value the life and welfare of our citizens. I say that without any apology. At least I've been in abroad and I've studied, and I see sometimes when we have issues and you go to your embassy and you see the way Nigerian embassy staffs treat Nigerian when they bring complaints. The same mindset. It's as though because you're in a country and we, like somebody was saying, it's like we have assumed and accepted that we are the bad people. And so when you come up with a complaint or report, before you even make the report, your embassy have already concluded that before the country will say you did this, you must have done that. That perception needs to change. We need to understand that countries may not like us as Nigerians all the time, but that does not take away our citizenship. That does not take away that protection that we require from our government. Because it has happened in South Africa, it is happening in Ghana. Don't be surprised tomorrow they will be flogging Nigerians from Benin Republic. And so our government must put a stand to this. And if we're on television, we must retaliate. If Ghana don't treat Nigerians well, then we have to give the same treatment to Ghanaians in Nigeria. Maybe that is when government will react. That's when government will take up action. But we've tried as much as possible over the time, talking to traders, talking to businesses in Ghana, maintain your calm, that our government will do something. Luckily, we have an office now in charge of diaspora issues. Maybe it will change the narrative. But the reality is that government must put a stop to this. Whatever they do to Nigeria, injury to one is injury to all. Whatever they do to Nigerians, we can equally do that to Ghanaians here. And I say that with every sense of responsibility, because it is becoming one too many. As we speak, as I'm here now, I've received reports. People are being arrested in the night. Police go to Nigerian shops, go to Nigerian houses, and pick them up and then take them to the police station for not just reason. Government must react and then act on this.
You know, it's a very dicey situation.
It is.
Very dicey situation, because even at the end of the day, one who has to bring in the perception of Nigerians abroad, because you want to take a look at, what's the perception of Nigerians? What does the rest of the world think about Nigerians? I'm still referring to that interview the 2 days ago, and I was startled when I was watching. In fact, the TV host asked Madam Abike that your president at a time did say that most Nigerians living abroad make it difficult, you know, for people abroad, in terms of some Nigerians abroad do not, you know, engage in legal deals and all of that. And perhaps if Nigerians, that they should just remain at home. How do you think that this perception that the world has about us, you know, changes?
Yeah. I think I agree with you. It's a perception issue. To be balanced, it would be good as well to encourage or to speak to our Nigerian citizens when they go abroad to try as much as possible to also conform to local laws or domestic laws of the countries where they go to. That is clear. Another thing again is Nigerians, we have our own behavioral challenges. When I call it challenges, as in we have our way of doing things. For instance, using the Ghana example, with my interaction and knowing of Ghanaians, they are systemic, and I will use the word with respect, a little bit slow in their dealing with their own issues. But Nigerians, we have this attitude. Yes, we have this attitude of
we're upwardly mobile.
Yes, we have this what they call in Igbo language Ozigbo attitude.
Ozigbo, that's
quick. Okay, now when you use a quick approach to someone who is slow, you know, sometimes they react, they get irritated because that is not their own style. Take it from when we are growing up as well, and you are eating in the same plate with some people or your own family members. You know, some people are fast eaters. When they do that, you get irritated. I mean, we are eating together, so why are you taking it so faster than I am doing? That is a challenge.
But I should eat more than you.
Yeah, so that's it. So Nigerians, because they are in a foreign land, we are conscious of the fact that we need to also make money and send home. We're also conscious of the fact that we need to cover up ground that we could not cover up when we are at home. That may also step on the emotions of our hosts or host countries, as it were. But that will not mean that we should focus on how we are branded. If we are branded bad, we don't need to own up. You are not bad, I am not bad. But the image we have, in quote, may be bad, but we are not bad. And we must do away with that. We must do away with that, with all we have to say, we are not what you think we are. If you have a criminal that is a Nigerian anywhere in the world, we also have criminals who are from that country, in our own country, or in some other countries in Africa. So it's humanity. It's humanity. And so why would Nigerians be targeted for xenophobic or hatred at all times? It's what our government need to deal with. Our embassies need to deal with that. They need to engage the Nigerian community in the various countries that are already hotspots.
Okay, let me take you up on the AFCTA. Nigeria is yet to sign, isn't it?
Yes.
How do you think this will pan out at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think the president said something a few days ago that he will sign based on national interest. And consultations have been going on. He set up a committee, which I also had the privilege of serving in one of the subcommittee, where that report is ready from the Presidential Committee on the AFCFTA Impact and Readiness. That report is ready, and I'm sure maybe they've transmitted it to him. And part of that, all of that report says we should go ahead and sign. So let's believe and hope that the meeting is coming up in Niamey, the launching of the AFCFTA formally, coming up in Niamey on the 3rd to 7th or thereabout in Niamey, and so he will be there, hopefully. And so we don't know what is going to happen there. But as at the moment, Nigeria have not signed, and we are praying because it does not give us, just to digress a little bit, whatever we are seeing in Ghana, attacking our businesses or traders, will be more if they sign the AFCFTA and then Nigeria is not part of it. Because the countries we might treat or treat Nigerians who are doing business in their country because they will be denied market access, there will be an upsurge of discriminatory approaches or treatment towards Nigerian businesses and service providers. So it will be good that we get it signed, and the private sector have always said, put certain things in place. So let government put those concerns of the private sector in place and go ahead and sign the AFCFTA so that Nigerians can benefit. It is a huge market, and we cannot do away with it. Just imagine it that Cameroon have signed, Benin Republic have signed. No, Nigeria we are in the center of several countries. So with our porous borders, what do you think will happen?
Okay, now let's take a look at the state of the African economies. What do you have to say? Because there are pockets of, not too good things happening, especially around the economy. I spoke about Sudan earlier on. We know what's happening in Sudan. Hundreds of people have been killed by the military. There's been a total blackout in Sudan. In Liberia, protests against the economy, against protests against George Weah, where a lot of people thought in Liberia was going to do well,
wonders,
yes, was going to do wonders and all of that. I think he was elected in 2017 or so. But we're seeing that in Liberia they also are protesting. But like I said earlier, there are also pockets of countries that are doing well. Even the Ghana, talking about the economic growth. The economic growth was released 2 days ago to 6.7%. Rwanda is growing well. Economically too, Ethiopia is not doing badly. Rwanda, Ghana, Kenya, which other country? Yeah, Ethiopia, among the fastest growing economies
Egypt
right now,
also
yes, in the world. What do you have to say about the state of affairs in Africa now?
Yeah, I think economic growth to a very large extent is tied to governance. And so we have governance challenge in Africa. And when that becomes clear to people, because before we have leaders, there are expectations, there are demands, there are shopping lists that citizens expect their leaders to deal with. And when you don't deal with those demands or shopping lists, then agitation comes up. That's what we have in Africa. People take up leadership responsibility or role, forgetting that there is a feedback system where citizens are looking up to you to deal with their issues. So if you don't give those services, you don't give those direction in accordance with citizens' expectation, they will react. And that reaction will come in the form of what we are already seeing. The George Weah issue, people are complaining, like we said, they expected him to maybe, in quote, it was perceived to be a younger person, someone with a
people-oriented mind.
Transgenerational person that we can relate with the elderly and relate with the young people. So that perception was there, and that was why he was given that. But what are we seeing now is falling in terms of that ranking. But another issue again is that we have government that don't communicate to citizens. You know, some of the challenges are not communicated to citizens, and so citizens build their own perception against leaders. So when citizens now do their own reaction, government will come and then try to explain. But they did not explain from the beginning. For instance, if you don't have resources to deal with certain sector, communicate it to the citizens so that they have it ahead. And then nothing stops government to also mainstream private sector into some of these activities. That is why the SDG goal made it very clear, to enlist private sector participation in development issues, so that where you have a gap, citizens, businesses can help you to also fill in that gap. That's the way I think we have to go, moving forward in Africa. But it is unfortunate that year in, year out, African countries are either in riot, we are in crisis, we are in war. And then you ask yourself again, these weapons we use in reacting or in fighting, who produces it? We are not producers. So there are also external triggers of some of these crises. Okay, so that's how it is.
All right, just before we go, let's take a few comments on Twitter. Ibina Felix Liberty saying, Nancy, is quite unfortunate that Ghanaians are attacking innocent Nigerians. They are bad people all over the places, but that does not mean that all Nigerians are bad. Nigeria and Ghana, the government should come up with concrete plans to end this mess. Ikmi on Twitter is saying, Ghana is simply paying Nigerians back for the Ghana must go of the 80s.
Well, it's their view, but using that last one, it is not a payback of Ghana must go. And you can also verify. I don't know if you know of the state of the Ghana financial sector, the Ghana banking sector.
Yes.
We are the ones sustaining it.
There's a lot of Nigerian banks
in Ghana. Okay, so our resources is also sustaining. The professor that I mentioned to you that is being sacked was giving an example of a university in Ghana that 60% of their resources is from Nigerian students. Yeah. So at what point Do we say Ghana must go? I mean, they are doing it. We are also supporting the economy of Ghana, in all honesty. And so what we expect is that a brotherly relationship that we've always had. If there are issues, no doubt, like the first person said, let there be a round table, okay, of saying what exactly is wrong.
Okay.
And then we can move forward solving that.
Okay, lastly, on Twitter, Onyeka Okafor is saying we are the architects of our own problems. We don't compel our leaders to be accountable. We run away from flocking various embassies for exile to other countries, then leave our nation in the hands of bad leaders.